This is the Bar Stewards Enquiry.
You're talking absolute rubbish. Absolute rubbish.
In what way?
You were an underachiever in life. I saved your bacon one time. You were gone.
You handled that well. I couldn't save you. But you did the right thing.
But that's why you don't know anything about racing, John.
I didn't say I do.
Right?
I'm saying that...
What have you contributed to racing? You're one of these take-out merchants. Take out all you can.
And a very warm welcome to the Bar Stewards Enquiry Weekend Podcast. Joining me tonight, Leakey's of SystemBet.co.uk is John Lang, as always, of John Joe's Blogspot. Good evening, John.
Good evening.
And just the two with me tonight, but certainly we're very select. And Adam Norman returns from his stint this week, Weatherby races, etc. He's been all over the north this week, whoring himself about Hexham, etc. Good evening, Adam Norman.
Good evening, Lee. It's nice to be back in the office today.
Yes, absolutely. And it's the start of Ayr's sort of Scottish Grand National meeting today. And they got that underway, same with Newbury. And that's what cards we are covering today. The Ayr races and Newbury on television to follow our best bets, where we're attempting to give everyone false hope after our last couple of weeks, where Adam Norman, Andy Richmond and John successfully landed their 3-pointers 2 weeks ago. And last week, we had lots of people posting the winning tricksies, which was nice. And then last week, we managed a 33 points profit combined from all bar stewards, just the useless Neville Ender letting the side down. But we're hoping to give them false hope, chaps. I mean, can we do it? Third week on the bounce, get them in clover.
No chance.
Of course we can. Of course we
That's
can.
it. Positivity. Yes.
The best podcast on the pod world. Whatever.
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
And,
it is.
Yeah, very exciting weekend, I thought, lads. I know you guys have turned your attentions to the level, but I thought there was plenty to get our teeth into this weekend.
Yeah, I thought if I said it was exciting, I'd be a liar. So, I mean, where's the flat turf racing, John?
Leopardstown.
Yes, that's where. Yeah, we've actually got the. Is it the Ballysacks tomorrow, or is it the Ballysacks or the Derrinstown?
Yeah. And there's 2 Guineas trials, and everybody over there will be partying on while we're stuck with the Scottish National.
You can see where John's bets are coming from this weekend.
Yeah, well, I don't think there'll be many national bets because John's had a good start to the Naps table, and John will want to make all. I think he's leading, so he wants to make all. He wants to be like Mark Johnston at Beverley with SDS.
I never want to be like Mark Johnston anywhere.
I think Deirdre says that, John. Right. Onwards and upwards. So we'll get on to our best bets then. So, chaps, I will come to Adam's the most enthusiastic of the three of us, so I'm going to go to Adam first for his third best.
Well, I'm going to go to Chepstow actually to start off, lads. Yeah, off the beaten track. There's a horse I've followed for most of his career actually, and I sort of wonder why really, because he hasn't won for a long time. But it's in the 142 Cobra de Mai, who used to be quite a high-ranking handicap chaser for Dan Skelton back in his pomp. He's nowhere near that anymore, but he's tumbling down the weights in the hands of Caroline Bailey, who is by no means a second-rate trainer. She's a bit quiet at the moment, but this staying chaser has been knocking on the door without necessarily threatening victory in a few runs this season. This is just a race that he could fall in to really, and I expect him to do so. It was more a case of putting a line through most of the opposition. Cobra de Mai is now off at a mark of 117, down from a high of around 150 a couple of years back. It's forgotten how to win, but as I say, it's just a classy type, and just showed a bit last time out at Southall, and he's shown bits and bobs in much better company, and with D Bass taking over quite interestingly. He's there, I think, to ride one of Kim's in the bumper. I'm expecting the Cobra to out battle some of these slightly less less courageous types that he's up against today.
Yes, 11-1's there for you, Adam, as well with the Denise Kurtz firm. Is that acceptable to you? 11s?
It's very acceptable. He's outside of the party. I can see him going up for something like 15-2 and winning by half a length.
Okay, that's 1 point win. Cobra Demar, he's definitely not an each way wanker, is Adam. So 1 point on the snout, and not that he'd go each way anyway with 7 runners. Cobra Demar, two really eye catching runs this season as well. I mean, third to Shariko Vallis over this course and distance. Kitty's Light was second. That's favourite for the Scottish National. So Adam's been shrewd here because that's a very, very sharp piece of form from earlier on this year. So surely he's not regressed that much. He was second to Sant Palais at Wetherby. What price is Sant Palais in this? And again, 9 clear of the third, which was Chef Devray, which was second to Timpat at Haydock in the Tim Malonia off 117. So Adam has got one here, I think. It's a nice bet, and big Bass on board. Yeah. Bass loves to row along and shove him and give him some absolute hammer. So it could be an interesting bet there. I like it.
Thank you.
Real good selection. 1 point at 11. I think that gets. Yes, that gets us off to a flyer from the Dirty Huntsman's jog. We'll be hanging like Dick Turpin all over the running at Chepstow. Right, John, after that great start, I'll come to you for your third best, please.
Yes, things can only get worse. We're over at Leopardstown, believe it.
Adam's on his max bet.
In the 345, the Ballysacks, funnily enough.
Yeah.
I'm rowing along with Swan Bay, who I rather stupidly thought might give Luxembourg a scare in his final start last year.
I remember, yeah.
It was a fair old letdown. He found little in the last furlong and lost out on a couple of places close home. I'm inclined to give this lad another chance because I'm 95% certain that wasn't his running. I think he's better than that. He showed enough for me in 2 runs prior to the debacle behind Luxembourg that I think he's definitely at this level for me. And I'd be disappointed if he can't cope with this lot, to be honest. I think he was well worth another chance. I've had a bet at 10-1, unfortunately, but the price seems to have evaporated. So,
it's one of these. I've had big prices, and now you paupers can get on. Yeah.
So, if anything, it stopped me each-way wankering on the pod straight away, and I'm going to have to go 1 point win.
1 point win, still a generous 15-2, John. See where you're coming from with the horse. I know you liked him last year, so I wish you well with that at 15-2 in a rather interesting renewal of that race. It can be said. So that's John's.
Isn't it?
Yeah. It's an interesting race. I think there'll be a few clues there for this season regarding a lot of the Group 1. So good stuff. My third best bet is at Ayr in the opener tomorrow, the 1:15 race. That's the Scotty brand handicap. And I got some murmurings there. Maybe I'm clashing with Adam on this, maybe, or maybe not, or maybe indeed not. My third best bet is the Peter Niven trained Melistic, who I honestly felt was going quite nicely at Doncaster before he absolutely belted the fence just coming out of the bend, the last one there before the straight. It's quite a tricky fence, that one, because they start to turn after that. I did think this horse, he's got a lot of class, this horse. I mean, this horse has got some really, really strong form with a lot better horses than what he faces in this. Now, I know Dubai Days has won this afternoon at Ayr quite nicely, but if he does reappear, which I think he might do, I think they'll probably let him take his chance if he's okay. Won it quite comfortably. This is obviously a bit stiffer than what he did win today, so I'm not really bothered about him. Sebastopol, as we know, can sort of shirk it in a finish. And he did win nicely last time, but has been punished for that quite extensively. And Malistic, I felt, 145. Bearing in mind, Peter Niven is terrible off breaks. He's terrible at getting them absolutely cherry ripe. And maybe Adam will come on and tell me. I don't know how fit he was that day. Adam, were you there at Doncaster that day?
I was there that day, Lee. Yes. But rarely miss a day out of Donny.
Was he fit enough that day?
I thought he was in the peak of condition, and I backed him. Such was his good health.
Well, you might have been robbed a bit, because
I did feel that way.
Yeah, and that was a nice little handicap. That you know, the winner and the second in that, you know, they can't be knocked. And I just think with Gold de Bois, that's doggy. And I thought Malistic could have a great chance for a 1 point win bet for me. 11-2 with Billy Hills. Take that. Let's pinch it, because I think Malistic will go well with Brian Hughes back on, who's a bit of a bin man, but not as big a bin man as Callum Bewley. So that's my third best of the weekend. So, okay, John, I'm going to come to you now for your second best bet, please.
I know a lot of the listeners like a dark horse now and again. And this one's darker than Harry Belafonte's arsehole. It's in the 420 at Leopardstown, and it's a horse called Action Motion. Randy Oliver's had three lovely little floats around Dundalk at the back end of the year. The half brother by Fast Company was rated 101 at one point. This is probably a stallion downgrade, but there's certainly potentially for this horse running off 71 here. I'm pretty sure he's got 65 in the bank anyway. So, given the improvement for turf, trip, and actually being off, he ought to be competitive in a poor heat. The problem being, I don't know what this lad's like first time. He might decide he wants a float up to put the horse spot on. I'm going to have to chance it. 2 points win.
Do you know what? He's 2 points win at 20s as well, John. This could see you blasting. He's an handicap trainer. He's Andrew Oliver. He's very good at getting marks for his horses, and this owner as well likes a good tilt with these handicappers. I'd suggest that he's got this straight. Shane, you're not booking Shane Foley just to get some feedback and have a little feel, around the back. I think he's gone for Shane Foley because this is probably D-Day for it. So, Jesse Harrington's jockey on board. Interesting. 20-1, John, for your 2 points win. Good choice.
Nice.
Well, look at you out of the box. I rubbished last week. Well, I didn't rubbish, but I couldn't see it doing well. But that one, Jesse's that finished third to, in the maiden last week. It was a great left field call, that at big prices. So nice.
Pundit's eye, as Virgo says. Pundit's eye.
Yeah. Right. So now I'm going to go to my second best before coming back to Adam, and I'm going to be a favourites wanker. Yeah, we love favourite wankering, and the 150 at Ayr, I can't really have Duke's heartbeat. I know it does require booze tipping things like this. Like you're listening to a pod and I'm tipping Wombi Nico de Bonville.
Was your favourite jockey on as well?
Yeah, an idiot on board. So 2-1 generally available for my 2 points there. Seven Barrows must have had this horse schooling every day for 8 weeks before the festival, because he's 2 starts like prior to running at Cheltenham. The horse looked like he'd never seen a fence. I've never seen a horse look so unnatural over fences, and yet the skill of the trainer there of Popeye must have come through, because that was brilliant. That was absolutely brilliant in terms of where the horse was at for its novice wins compared to how it ran at Cheltenham and how it jumped. Yes, it made a howler of the 12th fence, but then after that, you'd be expecting Dusart then to maybe lose confidence, being a novice, and you'd be thinking, is he going to lose confidence and go back to the old sketchily jumping technique that he employed before Cheltenham? No, that wasn't the case. He jumped well again, and he stayed on well up the hill. And this is absolutely different levels. You're finishing fifth in a Sun Alliance, and you're coming here now taking on. I don't want to be disrespectful because I know it's progressive. Ruth Jefferson sound Russian. Ruth Jefferson, I respect the horse, sounds Russian, very progressive, but nearly off level weights. Is that going to finish better than fifth in a Sun Alliance? I'm not so sure. Doyen Breed, like a few seconds consistent, but is what it is. These runners are not anywhere near Dusart, sadly. So I 2-1 for my 2 points. I think that's Mustardo. I think as long as it jumps like it did last time at Cheltenham, it wins. Simple as. No problem. Adam, coming to you for your second best.
Okay, right. A late change. Late change of heart here. I'm going to go. I've surprised myself here with a switch to Newbury. I've got so many I want to tip. I want to go here with Newbury, and it is the Veterans Conditional Jockeys Handicap Chase, the 210. The 210, and I'm going to go with Bermeo, a horse I've never backed before. I wouldn't say primarily because it's now in the hands of Barry Fry, but Mr. Fry is absolutely shitting winners, and he's taken over the reins on this horse after it spent a few months with Tim Vaughan, who managed to corpse it in the first part of this season. I don't know how long he's been with Fry's. Obviously, we can only guess, but hopefully he's been there a good 3 months, been nicely freshened up, and he's down to a rating that he was competitive off a season or so back. I don't like these races generally. It's a bit like going to a disco for the over 50s. Not
wrong with that. Not wrong with that.
It's a little bit unpalatable. But
I can move.
I'm not 50. I got to discourse for the under 30s. I'm a dirty bastard.
Sorry, Adam.
Well, I deserved it, didn't I? There's just so many horses in these races that I just don't like or can't fancy. And Bermeo's a horse that knows how to win. It's won 6 from 29 over fences. Not usually in the mix. That's silly, but often in the mix, and generally a good old stick over a trip and decent ground. He's not been missed in the market, but he's off 10 stone against a lot of horses who are either soft or like things their own way, as these oldies tend to do, as John will be the first to admit. So I just thought he was a bit of a standout, to be honest. Brian Carver's a jockey I quite like, who doesn't get much recognition. You've got a Venetia horse making the market who's just sort of won a couple of very weak races on softish ground. I think the ground is genuine sort of good to soft, if a little quicker. I can just see Bermeo. Bermeo just grinding it out on his first start for Harry Fry, who's had 6 winners in the last fortnight. And you've got to strike while they're flying, haven't you?
So you're saying Bermeo for Harry Fry on stable debut from Tim Vaughan at 2 points at 11-2 with Denise Kurt trying to eat into a yearly bonus. Is Adam there with Bermeo? Nice enough selection. However, we'll come straight back to me for the best bet, and it's in the same race.
No.
Yeah, we seem to be we're on each other's toes, me and Adam.
I've literally just sidestepped what your 2 pointer. Now you stomped all over me.
Yes,
the big one.
Yes. So I'll start with me for the.
There's only one other you can back in this race, I think. But go on.
No, this is where we'll have a big difference of opinion, I think. I am absolutely uber confident in First Figurer of the Witch for the full 3 points at 11-2 general. That's enormous. Ned Fox gets on extremely well with this horse, which is a good job because he doesn't do much. But he, this horse has just not had to come out of second gear. I can only assume, if you look at First Figaro's career, that there's only two possibilities. They've either solved a long-standing problem with the horse, as in, it's just or they've got some decent carrots. Either's possible because Venetia's 25% this year, and First Figaro was incredibly impressive at Leicester. The second it beat Onshan, it left it for dead and started sprinting clear. Well, Onshan's won since at Market Raisin, beating that handicap thing, that Edmund Dantes or whatever of Ruth Jefferson's that was absolutely thrown in really off 93. I felt and Onshan's gone and beat that. Well, this just sprinted clear of that for a flick of the whip. So I genuinely feel that First Figaro is back to whatever horse they ever thought of him. And he was, by the way, earlier in his career, he was a good bumper winner. He was a very impressive bumper winner. So he's obviously an horse with problems because that's why he's had sporadic appearances the last sort of 3 or 4 seasons. But whatever they're doing or they've got, he just looks in savage form. So 11-2 for my 3 points. Only thing I'd say with Bermeo, Adam, I did some research into Tim Vaughan, and a lot of trainers, Tim Vaughan must give them really bad aids because trainers don't seem to get massive improvement after they've left Tim Vaughan. The same owner had Song of the Huntress or Song of the Hunter, the belated. Yeah. Yes, the belated Song of the Lamented. Yeah. And he was well beat on stable debut for Barry Fry. Yeah. And there's been other examples. Dan Skelton, who's, as we know, he's a good trainer. Yeah. He couldn't DBC or DeBici or however you want. Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Another one that's completely dead. Yeah. And it's like he just would concern me coming out. That's fair shout. Whether they've got Welsh aids. Like a lot of them have in Wales. Yeah. Don't back Bermeo. Well, no. That's terrible. That's terrible. No. Please, if you like Bermeo, because like I said, don't let anyone put me off. It's just something because that was one of my worries and dangers. Because obviously, it's a race where you can sort of say, well, Bermeo could improve massively. And then I just did a bit of research into Vaughan. And after they leave Vaughan, they don't improve weirdly, or a lot don't seem to. So anyway, my 3 points is going with the Witch to carry on her amazing season under Ned Fox, who might put up 1 pound overweight because I think he can only do about 9.998. He put 2 pound over last time. He had to take 7 off or whatever weight he had to take off. So I don't know if he can do the weight. So he might put a pound over as well, if that might put you off. But it must be. It's negligible. Bearing in mind your argument for the horse, to be honest, mate, a pound either way is not going to make any difference, is it? No, the way it sprinted clear at Leicester, beating Onshan. And I backed Onshan in running that day because Onshan jumped really well. And it's the first time he has. And that's what I couldn't believe, that First Figaro just left it for dead, like he was just stood still. But anyway, it could be the Witch juice. 11-2 for me. We'll move on then. I'm done now for bets. Now it's to the proper judges. So I'm going to leave John sat waiting now. John, you can get a turkey leg out of that fridge and a pint of gin while Adam gives me his 3-pointer.
I'll be listening avidly. I won't be munching on a turkey there.
Adam?
Well, we've talked about informed trainers, haven't we? And there's few hotter than the master of Pond House, David Pipe. He had a nice winner today in the green and gold at Newbury.
Yeah.
I'm not a massive fan of these big races, the Scottish national types, but I thought it was very interesting that Via Dolorosa comes here on the back of a trouncing of a small field at Fakenham, a highly unlikely prep for a race like this, but won by 20 lengths. A horse who went round Aintree earlier in this year when joining Pipey, and ran well in the Grand Sefton, and then was going well in the Beecher the following month. I'm just thinking that they want to get this into the national. It's currently rated 137, which I suspect isn't going to be high enough. So I think that they've got a plan that they're going to win this, and then hopefully with whatever penalty they get for the Nash, they'll hope to squeeze in at the bottom next week in Aintree. So Via Dolorosa, front runner, with enough pace to win over 3 miles round Fakenham. I just think that he could get free on the lead here. He used to run in big races in Otoy over the years, all the big races, 80 grand, 90 grand races. But he couldn't really get that competitive in. But as I say, he came over from France rated 132 and was fourth in the Grand Sefton. Dropped down the weights after a couple of runs, and then here he is on 137. So although he's up 10 from that last win, I don't think he's that badly handicapped. And as I say, I can just see him getting free on the lead. Tom Skew knows, the kind of pace that you need to go at. I can just see him building up a lead, and he's going to, as I say, he's going to be there to win. While I fully respect the Christian Williams stayers, and another one who I was planning on tipping, the Ferrymaster, who was fourth last year, comes here in similar form off a lower mark. So there's 2 or 3 I respect, but I just think that they could let this go, and I can just see him running a massive race. And even if he doesn't get home, you've got 6 places. And if you don't go each way in a race like this, you're an idiot, obviously, with these terms. So he's a pretty exciting 1.5 point each way bet via Dolorosa in the biggie.
So you make a really good case there.
Very exciting, mate. Very exciting.
Yeah, 25 to 1.
I just think you're going to get you're absolutely guaranteed, unless they get a standing start and he blows the start, which is very, very possible in a 24 runner field. I mean, you are chancing a little bit to luck there, but no, he's just a horse in what was your phrase?
Savage.
Absolutely savage form. The yard's in savage form, which is, Pipers are so hot and cold. You've got to catch them when they're going, and they're literally running out their skins. Literally first, second, and third, last 10 runners have been placed at all manner of odds. I just think this is the time to catch him, to be honest. And although he's got tons of mileage behind him, as I say, he's a horse that just did the rounds in top races in Otoy. Got loads of experience to handle this type of scenario. I'll just if he does manage to get on the lead, I just think it'll be an exciting watch, as we like to say.
Good stuff. 25. So now you're not going to be. Are you wankering on this?
No, I've got. You'd be an absolute idiot if you don't if you don't accept 6 places in a race like this. Yeah. I'm not that stupid.
Yeah. So there's
a time and a place. There's a time and a place for each way betting.
Adam Norman has gone wankering, and we're going to give him 7 places for being a total each way wanker. And some of our listeners are going to
take 6. I'll take 6.
Yeah. No, 7. You can 7 with Bet365, Sky Bet, Betfred, all offering 7 places. But Bet365 and Sky Bet are the 25s. It's a great selection from Adam, I think. Like his argument there. We'll come on to the national later in the preview, but 25s for Adam for his 1.5 points each way with the 7 pegs. So wish Adam well with that. John, certainly last but not least, we're all in anticipation for your flat racing nap of the weekend.
It's quite boring, really. It's only a 6 to 1 score.
It's better. It's not bad. It's not bad.
Last week, when I was doing my best to unpick the Irish Lincoln, the eye did fall on a horse of Ado McGuinness's called Star of Cashel. Now, he got this off Aussie Stack, or rather the Shamrock Racing Club had at close of last season. And the horse was having its first run for Ado in the Irish Lincoln and was nibbled at in the betting as well, which made me end up having a little saver on the horse, actually, because I didn't think he was dangerous off this mark. But after a couple of furlongs, I sort of lost interest in him because he'd been doing far too much in Nathan's hands, and he was running at the back of horses and just too fresh, really, in general. But he showed plenty. He asked to do too much too early and ended up fading very late on. Now, this race is crap, really. He's got a good kid up, taking 5 off. He shaped really well the one previous run at Leopardstown, over 7 furlongs held up. I think he finished 4th or 5th, maybe. The same sort of ride today should pay proper dividends. I think 3 points win.
So no messing on the snout. The Star of Cashel for the Ado McGuinness successful in Maidan with a Case of You in the big Alquoz sprint there on Dubai, a big carnival day. Ado now turns his attentions to the big drop-in class, like John says.
He's a very tidy trainer as well, isn't he? I mean...
Yeah, got the carrots as well as Ado.
Yeah, he gets the job done. He does. Yeah.
So there's carrots in the barn, a good apprentice, what's not to like? John has got a good nap there, I think, 6-1 available. And that's with the Denise Kurtz. We're all laying into Denise Kurtz this weekend. 6-1 for Star of Cashel for John's 3 points win. Right, that finishes the bets roundup. We'll move now on to just previewing the television races and any other business that we may have got. And we shall go to Newbury first and to cover their 3 televised races there. The first is the 135. It's the Play Pick 6 at BetVictor Novices Handicap Hurdle. 5-2 jolly or roundabouts, maybe 11-4 in places. Punctuation trained by the cake master Fergal O'Brien. Any views here, chaps? Adam, did you have a quick gander at this?
I was drawn to the race because I like a horse called Wyoming, Gary Moore's. It's the only Gary Moore trained horse I've got a handle on. I thought that he was a good thing to win last time, and he duly did at a short price. Stepped up in trip, which I thought he would appreciate. He was entered in the county hurdle and the Coral Cup at Cheltenham. They bypassed that. It looks like to come here, 10 grand pot. I like the jockey switch last time. Josh replacing Hands of Stone. And 6 may have been a little bit harsh for that win, but the more I looked at the race, I just thought it was a little bit more competitive than I originally thought. But he was as close to a bet as many. Punctuation's form was let down today by the runner-up in that his last win. Irish Hill was trounced today at Newbury, and he's up in grade, isn't he? Punctuation. So I just felt that he was one to oppose heading the market. But Wyoming would be a. I might end up backing him if he's a decent price. But you could give a chance to Mo, who's been switched to Sam Thomas. One or two others you could give a squeak to. But yeah, I thought Wyoming was more than interesting, progressive type.
Yep, I agree with you. I think like you said, probably 6 is probably maybe a tad harsh for. But I do think he did improve a little bit for the extra trip. I mean, bearing in mind this horse really at 2 miles, I backed him off 113 at Ascot last year when he was second to Herbier's, and I couldn't breathe. Like I needed oxygen severely, and I just felt he just hadn't got the gear for 2 miles. So it was interesting. Finally, they just notched him up in trip a little bit. And I just thought that helped him. I just thought because he just travelled. Yeah. And I think that's it again. So I think you're on the right one, Adam. I think he's an horse to be interested in. So yeah, good call on that. John, anything here?
Yeah, that one you've been on about. That's like a good thing when going up in trip last time.
Yeah.
Bad with 0 fuss, I thought. hinted as that's what he wanted the time before, because he kept on really well at Newbury.
Yeah.
I have a job getting the Jellydale mob right, but I'm pleased you tell fancy.
Yeah.
He sort of give me enough of a nudge to have a bet now.
Well, he was he wasn't beaten far in the Betfair hurdle, was he? I mean,
No.
Yeah, it was a good run.
As I say, crying out for the extra yardage. There could be untold improvement, couldn't there?
Jellydale.
Yeah, we're all jelly deals for Royal Une in the
Even have some liquor.
Yes.
I mean, he bolted up off 79 on the all weather in this time last year.
Yeah.
When a hot favourite under Armour. So I don't know what that means, but you guys will be able to tell me. But he's run to if he's an 80 horse on the flat 85, then 120, 128 should still be some mileage in 128, shouldn't there?
It was a weak race, but again, it was 2 mile on the flat. So usually, as we say,
well, if
as
it
a
was
rule of thumb,
on the flat, they must have thought it was 90.
Yeah. And I think the extra trip's the key, and I think Newbury being more galloping than Fontwell will bring out possibly more as well for the extra trips.
Well, we've called it, haven't we? Because the market's wrong, then, isn't it? Punctuation's one off 106 last time. The runner-ups just got turned over, quite badly. The market's wrong, isn't it, lads? So and it's going to pay £8 for winning a length and a quarter punctuation.
It is. It's sort of a mini klaxon there for us. We can't do it. It's not in our best bets, but it's a mini.
We ought to chat more often, lads.
We should, because we're just egging each other on to have more responsible gambling.
We do. Love an echo chamber.
Gin and an hour chat on horses, so we can just treble our bets.
We'll be skinned by Christmas.
When the fun stops, stop. Right, 2-10 at Newbury. Me and Adam's got to stay quiet.
We've already fallen out about this one.
Yeah, we fell out about this
John.
one. We're not friends. So John now is going to settle this.
Step in.
I'll settle this, all right. Absolutely detest these races.
Yeah.
Sour old bastards that should have been retired years ago, struggling round while they're trying to turn it in. No, thank you.
Yeah.
So
I think reverse forecast, the bottom two.
Yeah.
John's gone for Peyton Gin there. So the 2:45 at Newbury finishes their card off. Yeah. Where will you be whistling tomorrow, John? Do you think?
Yeah, I'll be letting him in about 7 minutes past 12.
The image. Right, 2:45 Newbury. Yeah,
where's Andy Richmond when you need him? Go, keep talking.
Speech Bubble is the favourite, 100 to 30. Nice mare. I like this mare. Obviously solid form with the Love Envoy and so on and so on. But I did think you'd probably want to find a price with these mares, and maybe something like Good Luck Charm from the Honey Monster at 16s might appeal more. Clocked a good time at Exeter, but and will appreciate this extra distance from the 2 miles. But mares, I do like Gin and Pate, chaps. So what are you on in this?
I do love a mares race, Lee. I think I've mentioned that before. And there's a key race to this, isn't there? There was a Ludlow affair a couple of months back. I'm trying to find the form line now, but Holly Hartingo beat Next Door to Alice. One or two others were in behind. Sabrina was in behind. I think
Miss Fairfax.
Yeah. And Holly Hartingo is worse off for that after winning since and was patently running over too short a trip last time. I think just to keep it ticking over, because if you remember, I tipped it up for the not the River Don, the Phillies River Don as I call it, the one that Rebecca Menzies won with Fonzarelli. Yeah, and she was a non-starter, Holly Hartingo. So they clearly know she's a stayer. That was a 3 miler. And so they ran her over 2 miles at Hereford. Surprisingly went off Fav and was completely outpaced. I like Holly Hartingo. It's too tough a race to tip her up again. And like you, I've got full respect for Speech Bubble. Noel Williams, who doesn't get much going through his hands, does he? Really? I don't really know why. He seems to do quite well with the ammunition he has, but he's got a good filly here.
Yeah, like I said, there's nothing wrong with the Sandown effort on the book.
She's done absolutely nothing wrong. So, and I like horses that just don't do anything wrong in their careers, and she's done nothing to sort of raise any question marks at all. It's tough to give weight all round, but she'll have been campaigned with this in mind. And like you say, it's just the price really. She's not been missed. If she was 5-1, then you'd probably tip it up or back it, And if she does drift, then I'll be watching closely. I don't think Corey's Courage has a similar level of form. She's quite high up in the market. Sabrina is a progressive filly, isn't she? She's come on. And there's one or two others. I do like Good Luck Charm. I just think that she will be more interesting next year. She was very impressive the way she jumped. I thought the last three when winning at Exeter, she was powerful up the straight and looks a real nice prospect. I just wonder if she's a little bit slow.
With a better ground, perhaps.
It's a cracking race. It's one of those where these types are laid out in the first part of the season, aren't they? And it's nice to see a decent field, and it'll be a good form line to follow next year. For sure. John?
Probably have to vet out tomorrow night because Digby will munch his way through toast on a patty. We've gone from veterans to mares only. Fuck off, Newbury.
Swiftly on then to Ayr, where we're sort of running short of time. So I'm going to say out the 115. Adam, John, the thoughts on this, please.
I thought Sebastopol looked pretty solid, but for those that fancied an alternative, I think that's Sao, or whatever they call it. It's a fairly kind traveller. Might offer a bit of value as a back to lay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Fair shout. It's a funny one, isn't it, Sebastopol? I've always wanted to take it on, really, and then it won last time. Second horse came out and won easy. Is he one to trust? I don't really know. He could have turned the corner. Stan Shepherd's riding really well this year. I just thought he sort of arrived on the 144 mark. Looked a little bit high to me. I did look very closely at this, and early in the week I wanted to have a couple of bets. Melistic and Sao were the two that stood out for me. We mustn't underestimate Becky Menzies in these races. She's just gone a little bit quiet the last fortnight, but Sao has clearly been laid out for this. I think I had a tickle on it in the Red Rum Chase last year, and it didn't show anything. But the race probably wasn't run to suit. But that just sort of indicates that I think it's got a race like this in it. It's £3 lower here. I think it goes on any ground. There should be plenty of pace. And I agree with John at 10-1. I thought it was a really good poke, as long as the race is run to suit. Melistic, I've got tons of respect for. As I say, we've chatted about that. I think it may have gone close. I just think he was very exuberant at Donny. I don't mind Callum Bewley as a jock, but Hughes would have been better on it, I think. And I think he was jumping so exuberantly that he stood off that fifth last and just pitched the jock out the saddle. It was just unfortunate, but he's a really, really nice looking horse, Melistic, and 145 is a rating he can win off. They were the two for me. I think they will run Coach Carter again, and he was a little bit eye-catching today, I thought, behind Dubai Days, who I don't think they'll run. I think Alexander has said that he's entered his over the 2 days just in case there was some mishaps. So I think Dubai Days will come out, and I think that's another reason why I didn't want to have a bet in the race, because that might just take a chunk out of the market. So, but Melistic and Sao were the two for me, yeah.
Good stuff. 150 again. I'll sit out, and now you can find ways to try and oppose Dusart both here, and both end up back in losers.
If this was the national meeting, everybody would be saying swerve Dusart. It's been to Cheltenham, but because it's the Scottish Nash meeting, everybody thinks this sort of malarkey from Popeye's okay. Well, no, Popeye, it's not okay. Don't think you can get away with it just because it's not the proper Nash. So, no, he shouldn't be coming here off the back of a thumping at Cheltenham. And those who want a bit of each way value against could go with IK Brunel, who has a bit of stand out on the clock compared to a lot of these, and he's a nice sort of price. Thank you very much.
Okay, IK Brunel each way for John for the each way wankery. He's wrong, of course. Adam.
Yeah, I immediately just wanted to oppose Dusart for similar reasons. To be honest, mate, it's a quick turnaround. You don't know how he's going to react to that. You've made a perfectly good case. You know, he's giving £2 to Sounds Russian. Seems ridiculous, really, doesn't it? And I kind of want Sounds Russian to be really good, but you just don't know. He's just been bashing up, crappy northern stuff on heavy ground impressively, and he's a really big, cracking chaser. And I'm glad they've kicked on with him because I saw him at Hexham in October running in a novice hurdle, and I thought, you've got to crack on with this late developing type, and it's great to see Ruth training winners, but. I was more interested actually in Lord Accord, to be honest. I was at where was I? Hang on. I was at Donny. I get confused sometimes when he ran last time in a cheeky little 3-runner race. He looked a bit burly off a couple of month absence, and he looked rusty in the race, making a couple of uncharacteristic mistakes. That was only his 4th race over fences. The 2 that he finished behind have both won since, so it was, as a 3-runner races go, it was all right. He's just a very solid performer, Lord Accord. Thorough stayer, likes good ground, and if Dusart doesn't run up to form, and if Sounds Russian isn't capable of defying that another big rise, I think Lord Accord is just going to be there or thereabouts. At something like 7-1, I'm going to have a few quid on him.
Good stuff, John.
Right. John's already given his.
Yeah. John's actually just absolutely just destroyed me on it. He said, no way is this a bet.
He's dropped the mic. He's dropped the mic, and that's it.
Yeah, he has. He's given me there. He's straight under the ribs from John.
Yeah.
The 225 then, the Scottish champion hurdle. West Cork is just about favourite, I think, around 3-1 for the Skelly Welly Yard. Obviously, very strong form. Thoughts here, chaps?
In an ideal world, you'd lay the front 3 all around the 2-1 mark and sit back and enjoy.
Yeah.
I think they've all got enough quibbles about them, but you're not going to be able to do that, so you might as well just get Digby back in and get some more pet here down him.
Digby and duck liver pate tomorrow is the call.
He's on the cheap stuff. You don't use the duck liver stuff when
Yeah, Adam.
Yeah, I didn't come to much of a conclusion about this. To be honest, I thought that most of them were correctly priced. I don't know much about Anna. I don't like Anna Bonina. I've seen it, but it's tiny. So I'm not a massive fan of horses that lack scope. I thought she was short enough in the betting. I thought Barrichello was way too short. It's just a sort of been mopping up races that have been sort of perfectly framed for him. Nice chase type, but don't fancy him. Voix de Rev, I think a lot of people are going to latch on to from each way perspectives, but I think West Cork and one more for the road look pretty solid, to be honest. But again, you've got the factor that at this meeting, everything's arriving, off the back of a tough race at Cheltenham or wherever. So I'm not sure I want to be backing Milkwood or West Cork for those 2 reasons. But equally, I've not got much to oppose it with.
Yeah, no, I probably agree with what you just said there. The form's got the market's got it right in terms of like where we're at. I didn't see an edge. Go on to the champion novices. Manila Drama, I thought again is the right favourite. I thought it was a tough task for him last time. I was surprised to see him go off favourite to beat Pete Doherty, because obviously he had £7 to find with that. He was giving £5 to Miller's Bank, level ratings. He was giving £12 to Fantastic Lady, £10 superior. I just think it was probably just a bit too tough. This I don't think is as tough as that, if I'm honest. And I felt that he was probably the right favourite. But again, I've got no real edge in terms of price with any of these. So Adam, can you put me right?
No, you've made a good case for why Minella Drama was beat last time. You know, it looks disappointing on the face of it when he was made favourite, but that was a sort of a queer market, wasn't it? And I think you tipped Pictoria that day, so you called it on the day. Kilteely and Il Ridotto are not disappointing horses, but they come off substandard efforts. Kilteely's had a hard season. Do Your Job's a nice horse who appreciated the step up in trip last time, but only managed to scramble home against Informateur, who has been completely out of form all winter. So, and DBC was close up, and he's since bombed out. So the level of that form is set. I was just amused by Jacquemart, to be honest. I quite like the fact that he just sort of turns up between the last two, sort of cruising there, and after when the rest have sort of battled it out and fallen in a heap. So it wouldn't surprise me if he did the same tomorrow. He still seems on a fairish mark. Started out the season off 133. He's on 135 now after a couple of wins. So his style of running proves that you can run consistently and keep getting ahead in front. I don't think he should be the outsider, to be honest.
Yep, 8 or 9 to 1 available for Jacquemart, which is interesting. John, thoughts?
One of the things I like most about stick jumping is the ample opportunity it gives me to contradict myself and sound like an utter cunt. And that's what I'm about to do here, actually. Now, I thought Minella Drama just went a fraction quick for the bin man last time at Kempton. And he wouldn't know how fast to go around there anyway, would he? Because he probably hadn't ridden there before. Now, that said, he looks the type that could do your job at it, jumping-wise, if he sets the pace here. Il Ridotto hasn't looked worth his rating in the 140 since he earned it at Newbury. Cobden, replaced by the hopelessly out-of-form Frost, doesn't increase confidence either.
She looks drained at the moment. She does. She's
having a bad time. There's no question about it. More on this on Sunday.
Yeah.
Kilteely, clear the diaries, people.
Kilteely Briggs, however, had been on this, what I thought was very steady, extremely steady upward curve going into Cheltenham, where for me it looked like a non-stair. So despite the fact they're coming here after a tough race at Cheltenham, good evening, Popeye, he could just be an alternative to Ginger's horse.
Yeah, so you've dissed me, and now you've come up with an alternative with the same fucking reason.
This is what I said. This is the stick jumping player. This is what it does to you.
Yeah. This is John. He shafted. He loves shafting me, does John? He's done it. He's done it there with his contradiction for Kilteely Briggs. Right, we'll move on to the Scottish National, and Adam's got to sit this out because he's bored us for 10 minutes with his, and me and John now to try and dissect this mammoth contest. I'll just start with my selection, John, and then come to you to finish. Major Dundee is my choice for the late Eddie Hemmings. He was the rugby player, Trevor Hemmings. Sorry, that's the gin. And this horse is extremely lazy. He's probably one of the laziest horses I've seen. I know that sounds ridiculous because it has won races quite nicely, but it wasn't doing a tap when it beat Tanapino at Bangor. He was at Samuel Jackson was third. And he was just absolutely lobbing along, just doing absolutely nothing. And then I fell for him last time. I had a really good bet on him at Newbury last time. I started to count it about 3 out because he came there going really nicely, but Fuji Flight just had too much for him on the occasion. He couldn't do it. And I was a bit disappointed. I expected him to beat Fuji Flight from that position, but when you consider that Soldier of Destiny was 8 lengths further back in third, and that came out and beat and slammed Burrows Diamond at Haydock, despite Burrows Diamond doing plenty right at Haydock, I think the form's really strong. Whether it's strong enough to win a Scottish National, I'm not quite sure, but I do think that he will stay, and he'll stay well, because the way he travels, it's effortless to him. And, he's capable of going right up the ranks, is Major Dundee. It's whether he can be bothered. And the one bad thing is, the last time they brought him up here, he clearly didn't like Ayr, because he was well beaten, with the trainer offering no explanation for the bad performance last April. He absolutely bombed out here. And I think when he's won before, I think one of the jockeys said, Tom Cannon, has said before, when he won at Fakenham, he seemed to enjoy it at Fakenham because it kept him interested. So that's the kind of horse we're dealing with. But I do think he's well capable of winning off higher than this, and I just think the staying trip will bring out extra in him. So Major Dundee at around 12-1 was my sort of each way stab. John?
I would just say, first and foremost, if listeners are going to have any sort of bet in this race, they should have something on Adam's selection.
Yeah, I agree. He made a brilliant case.
They're going to bail out after 4 fences and take 8 points to nothing.
I agree.
That's probably what they'll get.
I agree. That's the strongest bet, I think.
A very, very good player. That in this.
He made a good case at 25.
Yeah. For myself, prior to Adam making that case, I was looking at History of Fashion, who fluffed his lines in I think it was the Ayr, wasn't it, at Newcastle. Yeah. He's had a nice go around since, over a much too short a trip, to get his confidence back. Now, chances are he's probably 50-50 whether he's going to get round there in a big field. But for me, at least he looks a horse of potential against some absolute tried and tested geese that are running here. He does look as though he can go on and rate higher, provided he can hold it together on the jumping front. And as I say, I think there's improvement to come for this marathon trip, as long as he can complete it.
Yeah. So
there it is.
Yeah, and basically, he's a horse that could improve again. It's shrewd outfit, etc. So that's a nice choice. Back 20-1, I think, History of Fashion. So we've just covered off the racing for the weekend, and we're back on Sunday for the sermon at the usual time. Me, John, and Lorne Malvert to discuss the weekly topics, of which Bryony Frost will be one of them. And I hope you join us then, and I hope that we can provide you plenty of winners going into that. So thank you, Adam. Thank you, John. And we go forth hoping to smash the bookies on Saturday. That's all from us. Bye for now.